A three, 2, 1. Mom. Juliet. Neve. Let's go.
I don't know why you did a countdown when you can't start on time.
No, I'm trying. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. It's PanCake Friday. I'm trying to
learn rhythm.
No, I'm trying to do like if you listen to some podcasts,
Yeah.
they'll be like this on the podcast. Like pretend you and me were like, you know how we were talking before it started. Yeah. It's like they'll start recording.
Yeah.
And it'll be me and me being like, oh, yeah. And anyhow, I was so drunk last night. Like some story, you don't know the story, you just hear the end of it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like make cool intros like that, and that was like a new one. Like instead of just starting with it, it's like 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I mean that's a way of doing it.
I'm trying to get viewers.
What viewers?
And that's what the number one comment I've heard. We get thousands of comments.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do. I just don't put them out because a lot of them are bots, so they're very like controversial, racist, sexist, and stuff. And they're bots. They're clearly bots. But some of them are true fans, and they're commenting on like, "I wish there was a countdown before your song."
This is just completely false. I don't believe that for a second.
And that's another episode of PanCake Friday. We'll see y'all next week.
It's like you're just bullshitting so hard right now. We get thousands of comments. I'm like, stop.
Okay, so you just called me out on my bullshit, so I don't really know where the podcast goes, because if we're living in this whole no bullshit thing, then there's nothing I have to say.
This podcast doesn't exist.
Yeah, I have nothing to say. How are you?
Me, I'm good.
Is that how we... All right.
Anyway, silliness aside.
Oh gosh.
I actually have something to talk about on today's podcast.
Oh, what?
So I've been listening to, on my audiobook schedule, I finished Grapes of Wrath, which by the way was like a hell of a friggin' book. I still don't really know what happened in it.
This was the listen?
No. I was listening to Grapes of Wrath.
Okay, I'm going to let you finish your story, but then I want to know what Grapes of Wrath is about.
Okay, well, no, I can explain that briefly.
Okay.
Well, it's a 21-hour audiobook. So
okay, sum it up in 2 sentences.
Okay,
2 paragraphs.
Man kill people, work is hard.
That sounds like a good book.
No, it's actually really a really good book. It's really interesting about how all the workers, and I want to say, I don't know what time period it was. I want to say like the 1950s.
Oh, so it's more
60s?
recent? Oh my god.
It was like
70-something years old.
There were cars
Whoa.
in it.
Okay.
But
were they alongside horses?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is...
So it's
what
basically...
world is that?
I know. So it's about this family, and they're farmers, and they get kicked off their property, so they travel to California for work. But this is the time when like everyone was traveling to California for work, so they had to set up like these camps outside the workplaces that were either government run camps or camps, and these workers would live there and make like shit all, like couldn't feed their family.
Okay.
And there was like...
Were they Mexicans?
No.
Oh, they were from where?
From like inner US.
Oh, okay.
So they were just like working class people that were trying to find work, and then some guy gets attacked, and like this guy ends up killing this guy, and then they go somewhere else and they find him out, and no one can eat, and it sucked. And
honestly, it kind of sounds like LA now. It sounds very similar to LA now.
That's pretty much the book, but it's a lot deeper than that, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyway, I finished it, so super hyped on that. And then as like an easy listen after that, I'm listening to, and this sounds more controversial than it is, but Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so apparently Peterson is like this super controversial guy, but if you read or listen to 12 Rules of Life, I honestly think it just like, it appeals to everyone. I think it's such a good way of living.
I mean, I have his book, the one, We Who Wrestle with Gods.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it has anything to do with that book that you're about. I haven't read it yet.
No.
So I'm interested in that for different reasons, but I actually have had that on my list of books to read. Why is it? Like, I've heard a lot of people say that, but like, what is it about?
It's an incredible book. Like, I really value the message he puts across in it.
Okay.
Because he goes into like the philosophy of humans, and I prepared. I just want to tell you what his 12 rules of life are.
Are all of them sex, drugs, rock and roll, get rich or die trying?
Oh yeah,
fuck bitches.
Segment done.
Yeah, Peterson.
No, but seriously, I've just been listening to it, and I think it's really thought-provoking.
Okay.
And
love that stuff.
And really just a good way to live your life. And so how he came to wrote this book was
Jordan Peterson.
No, I just went back into Somerset for a second there. He wrote this book because it started as like, do you remember Quora?
Yeah.
Like pre-Reddit? It was like
was
a Reddit.
Quora I've heard of Quora. I didn't know it was
It's like a pre-Reddit.
Okay.
So Jordan Peterson just used to like browse and answer questions, and one person posted like, what's your rules for life, and he wrote these 12 rules, no explanation, just posted it, and it got like so much attention.
So he wrote the book.
So he wrote, like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna write a paragraph explaining each one, and then he just ended up writing a whole book.
How long is the book?
It's not super long. It's not any longer than like Shantaram.
Oh my god, Shantaram's so long.
Yeah. But if you listen to it as well, it's a book you can listen to, because it's just him talking, and he narrates it too.
I just want people to know that Shantaram's 950 pages, so Neve has
it's definitely not
crazy
that
ass
long.
Picture of what a short book is.
Anyway, dude, I've read Les Mis and Anna Karenina. Like, fucking talk to me about long books. Them's is longs books.
I'm not gonna lie, Shantaram's so well written, but I'm at around 660 pages of the 950.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
It's just really hard to keep in one world that long about one thing.
Yeah.
Like, not even the Bible's that long. And the Bible it's long. Sorry, go back to
okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to tell you the 12 rules for life,
Please,
okay?
I'd love to hear them.
So the first one is stand up straight with your shoulders back.
Okay.
The second one is treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. The third one is befriend people who want the best for you.
Okay.
The fourth one is compare yourself to who you were yesterday, in parentheses, not who other people are now. 5 is do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. 6th is set your house in order before you criticize the world. 7 is pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. 8 is tell the truth, or at least don't lie. 9 is assume whoever you're listening to knows something you don't. 10 is be precise in your speech. 11 is do not bother children while they are skateboarding. And 12 is pet a cat when you see it on the street.
I like those. Those are sweet.
Those are awesome rules,
I want to read that
right?
book now.
And but like when you like read/listen to the book, he goes into like so much depth about like why he chose those rules and his perspective on life. I have a lot of respect for Jordan Peterson. I really, really enjoy him, and I'd love to go see him speak. Mm-hmm. But I just think he has a really good like ethos. And that's why I'm really enjoying this book.
Yeah, I like Peterson too. I don't know. I don't like everything he says, to be honest. Like, I really like all those rules. I've listened to him like on podcasts quite a few times, on tons of podcasts. It's not like just on Joe Rogan. Like everyone, or
a ton of people have him.
But he's on a lot, and I like a lot of what he says. Like, I'd overall, for example, if I was prime minister, I would bring Jordan Peterson in my squad.
I 100%.
But I also think that Jordan Peterson, there's a few like things about him that I find are weird. Is he's so into God now, which is interesting. And I don't know, it's not really anything to do with like, I do like him. It's not like a negative on him. It's just a weird like change of pace from that book to where he is now.
Yes.
But you know, he almost died, right?
He's had like a ton of severe really autoimmune crazy things go on.
So he became famous for like his thing that made him like really like worldwide famous was he was talking about like at the start of the like trans movement
that's why he became
he said something about like it wasn't even about like him saying like you can say what you want, it's I don't have to say what you think, right? That's where he came from. And then I'm gonna put it down to this is all just speculative on my behalf, but he basically became famous, but his fame wasn't like loved by everyone. He was very polarizing. And then he got an autoimmune condition, which I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that has to do with the heat of becoming what he was, a very polarizing
stress
figure.
Is very,
So he was like dying. And then he went on him and his daughter went on a thing where all they ate was organ meats.
Yes, I know.
And that's it.
It's in the book as well.
Oh, is it? Okay, and it like cured him. And then that's how he found God. So I always find when like something crazy like that happens, it's just interesting how they like find God through all that.
Well, it's the reason I also relate to it so much is because I knew of Jordan Peterson from when that whole like controversy happened that made him famous, but I read like pieces of the book that I'm listening to now, and his daughter, she had inflammatory arthritis. So that's what the autoimmune thing that she was trying to get under control. But when I was reading the book, he was detailing medications that I've also been on how they affected her. And I'm like, that's how they affected me. It's like, it puts the like relation into it. And I'm like, oh, like this person has like been through something that I can relate to, like hard, and how he kind of deals with that and his own thing, I just think is a really positive perspective. I think he's actually like a really positive. It's almost like a self-help book. I would say like
I'm pretty sure it is a self-help book.
And yeah, I'm pretty, maybe that's what you'd call it. But I would say it's one of the only books of its kind that has actually like spoken to me, and I've been like, yeah, that's how you should live your life. That's
cool. I'm glad to hear that. It's been on my list of books I'd like to read for sure.
You really should.
I don't know. I mean, especially so my job is, it's funny you say stand up straight with your shoulders back. I genuinely think that's like. There's so much that happens in the subconscious of when you meet a person.
100%.
Like, body language and all that stuff. And one of the biggest things I've been told is like, so mimicry is a good one. So if someone crosses their arms, there's part of that is like maybe they're a little closed off, but part of it is some people like, it's always weird with body language. Some of it is like, are you a closed off person versus habits? Like, for example, you can like read crossing your legs as like, oh, well, they're like crossing their legs because they're closed off, or their arms or stuff. But I don't know, some people, like for example, myself, I cross my legs all the time on this couch specifically. Since we've got this couch, I start crossing my legs because of where I sit. Like, it's a thing, right? So as much as body language is a thing, there's two sides to it. It's not just as simple as like you cross your arms, you're closed off. Maybe right? But like there is something to that. And a huge one that I've learned over time, and I actually read about this,
Yeah.
was when you want to be welcoming but also like confident to a person, you have to stand up straight, you have to have your shoulders back, and you should have your arms behind you,
Yeah.
and then your hips open. So like not like this, like that, right?
Yeah, like military position, kind of.
No. Military is like you're strict. This is like open.
Yeah, but that's like relaxed military.
Okay,
Like
okay, sure.
when you, yeah.
But it's like a relaxed, open position, and I can tell you when I consciously started doing that, I noticed people do relax more because the situation I'm in is a very like intimate, private place.
Yeah, I
right?
mean
You're dealing with someone that's telling you about their thing. They're getting naked. You're touching them, all this
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah.
So those things are important. So that first one right away, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I
that's
think it's
important.
so important to make, like, especially for you, other people feel comfortable around you as well. You're just
Yeah,
like,
but I just argue that's a general thing. Like, why
Yeah.
would you ever want people not to feel comfortable around you, assuming you're in just like normal civilian life? Like, I guess if you're a police officer or something, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But like the average normal person, you should always just want to be comfortable around people,
Yeah.
and so should they, right?
yeah, I definitely agree
Yeah,
with
that's sweet. Would you ever want to try a carnivore diet?
I'd be open to it if I like really thought it could help. But I've also been in remission for like 6 years, so I'm not gonna fuck with
No.
something that's already
No,
going
no,
well
no.
for me. You know?
No, yeah,
Like, I'm good right now. If it comes to a point down the line when I have to do that, then yeah, I'll give it a go.
But
But-
yeah, why? No,
No,
Just
right now
keep
I'm-
doing what we're doing. It's
Yeah.
working.
It's working.
It's working. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like it's interesting. I've never read a self-help book, but I've thought of it. One of my friends is like an avid self-help book reader. Surprisingly, Matt Epic.
Oh, really?
Matt Epic reads a lot. Like,
Yeah.
it's shocking because he games a lot, but he reads a lot too.
Yeah.
And he's always been someone that's been like a huge, like, he loves Peterson's book for a long time,
Yeah.
and he's always been like, he says that's his like one of his main read types.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
Would defo recommend 10 out of 10. Anyway, on to our non-book review portion of the evening.
Okay, I have a few things.
Okay.
Let's see here. Okay. Here's a crazy thing. You know this, but we're gonna just do. So me and Neve are watching Shogun on Disney Channel right
it's
now.
so good.
Highly recommend it. I always hate when people say this, but it's Japanese Game of Thrones. Like,
It
I hate
is,
when people
yeah.
use Game of Thrones, but I think what Game of Thrones implies is it's highly political and there's fighting in it,
Yeah.
and scandal and stuff, but it's all based around like people controlling and using power and stuff, as opposed
Yeah.
to it just being every episode is about giant fights.
Yes.
So that's what, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's about like, basically there's a shogun is like if all of Japan's united under one leader, that would be a shogun, but they have these 5 or 6 provinces, and one of the guys is being like ousted, and that's kind of where it starts.
Yeah.
And it's been so good. But so there's one question that's been bothering me for the show. We're almost done season 1.
Yeah, we've got one more episode.
There's 10 episodes, hour and like 5 minutes each, and
Mm-hmm.
it took me until episode 9 to be like, I'm gonna find out why this is a thing. But all the Japanese men in it have normal hair, except the top is literally shaved bald, like no hair, bald. And I was like, what the hell is this? And so here's what it is. Historically, Japanese men, particularly samurai warriors, shaved the top of their heads to facilitate wearing helmets in battle, as the smooth, hairless surface allowed for a better fit and helped keep their heads cool under the helmet. This hairstyle, called chonomage, eventually became a status symbol signifying their social class. So yeah, It's just
it's like a warrior.
like I couldn't get over it because I was like, why? Like it's
Why
so
is everyone's
hideous,
head shaved?
and it made no sense because everyone had such hair, like so much hair. It's like they have perfect hair.
Like, why are you shaving it in the widow?
Bald top. Yeah, and yeah, so Chonmage, I think is what you'd call it. All I know is Japanese is a lot of it is like two letters together. Dylan was explaining it to me. So like McDonald's, for example, is like McDonald's. So he'll be like McDonald's for when people are asking here, they'll be like, where is McDonald's? And you're like, what? And they're saying McDonald's, but it's like MCDO. Like that's how the language is.
Yeah.
So Chonmage, I think is what it's called, the haircut style. I'm gonna
You should get
that.
it.
Yeah, I think I might.
So haven't you got a haircut tomorrow?
I've gone from growing it the top out to shaving it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Bald.
Bald, cool. I actually really like the long look though.
For me?
Yeah, on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just giving you a compliment right now.
Wow.
I'm really digging the long hair. You even got the little headbands. I fuck with it.
Really?
Yeah.
So where do I go from here then?
You just keep going, baby.
So like I got a cut tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wait.
You got a cut tomorrow.
Do I have a cut tomorrow?
You said it was 6 weeks since your last one. Do you got a cut tomorrow?
I don't think I do.
Okay. Well, perfect.
What time is it out? It's say on my
No
thing.
shaving.
10 a.m. I didn't get a text message about it. That's the only thing, so I don't think I did.
Well, either way, I fuck with
Just
the hair.
okay, sweet. I'll keep growing it out just for you.
Thanks, babe. I mean, I am the one that has to see it every day.
Yeah, it's true. This is very true. Okay, I'm going to stop looking for my haircut here. Appointment Rexford, barber shop at 3/7. No, I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So
Cool.
I'm glad we could
It's
sort
established.
That, sort
Derek
that out
does
on
have
air.
a haircut tomorrow.
Okay. We're gonna get. Okay, we're glad. For all our listeners that were worried about that, it will go down. But I'll tell them I'm gonna go in, pay him, and say, "Don't touch it. It's fine."
No, I think you could get the sides trimmed a bit.
Yeah, I'll
But
trim-
I do like the length on top.
Yeah.
I think it looks really good on you.
Thanks. I'll get the sides trimmed, and then to be honest with you, I think he might have by accident booked me for a month instead of 2 months. Because I said 2 months and I got it cut after we got back from Hawaii.
Yeah.
No,
That's
in
probably 2
January.
months.
Oh, shit.
We're in
it
February
is.
now.
Yeah, you're right. Rex, I love you. You're the man. No, I love Rex. He's a good dude and he's a great haircut.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the pod. So I heard this, just so people are aware, that a lot of like these fun interactive things that I think of on my own are just from other podcasts and I steal them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So like, but I think I've said this before. I feel like all social media is everyone does the same thing, but some people are popular for it. Like you go on YouTube, everyone does the same thing. It's just like the big
That's
people.
true,
Yeah. So it's a dark and stormy night, and you walk into a tavern in gloomy England, Cheshire. It's 1832.
Is this a porno?
No. And there's a wizard. And he comes up to you in your Cheshire pub. He says, "I'm a wizard. I've got a potion for you. You can only have one potion. I have a luck potion, a flight potion, a strength potion, an invisibility potion, and a potion of ancient wisdom. What do you choose?"
You're asking me to choose?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't listen. So
what? You weren't listening? Okay, I was trying to set the mood.
I was
Okay.
I was like trying to focus on like what the fuck is this voice that he's doing? I didn't actually listen to anything you
Okay,
said.
so-
Give me the list of potions.
So I was
Can you
saying
do it in a normal voice?
Okay. So you're a wizard and you walk into Cheshire.
Yeah, I got the Cheshire pub.
Or no,
and
Cheshire, there's a wizard. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have one potion to choose.
Okay.
A luck potion,
Yeah.
a flight potion, a strength and invisibility, or an ancient wisdom one?
Flight.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Why? Why so quickly?
Because you can go anywhere.
What about luck?
I'll be pretty lucky if I can go to Barbados for like no money.
What about ancient wisdom?
Don't need to be wise when I can fly.
No. Okay, that's actually, now that you kind of say them, I guess
Like a flight straight up.
strength. Because strength, even like, how strong are
what?
you?
You gonna lift Barbados to you?
No,
I don't think so.
and strength we're gonna call like luck. You're like lucky within reason. So like you flip a coin and you get it a few times, kind of thing.
Cool.
Or
Can't fly
flight,
though.
you can fly. Strength, you're not like super the strong. You can lift 1,000 pounds, which is a lot, but it's not like that much.
Yeah.
Invisibility, if you go invisible, your pants fall off. Or no, if you go invisible, you can still see you if you have clothes on, so you have to be naked to go it. Ancient wisdom, you can just know all the secrets of the universe and just unlock every mystery, but like, who needs that? Right?
I don't want to know that. I'm like, yeah, fly, baby. Let's go fly.
I'd
give you a piggyback, so if you want to choose a different potion, that's fine.
I'd go invisibility and I'd wear clothes and be always pretend. I'd play like the sad sap of like, I'm invisible and I always have to wear clothes. But really, it was just a thing to get girls.
I don't know how you're getting girls with that, like even slightly. But yeah, you take that, babe, because I can guarantee if you take that, no, there's no girls involved. That's just you being naked with clothes and invisible.
Maybe that's what I want.
Well, I'll piggyback us to Barbados.
And I'll be naked on the back of you.
Fine.
No one will know.
Why is there a shirt in the sky?
It'll be
People
our dirty
looking at a
little
plane
secret.
like, there is a floating shirt there. And then I come up with my wings. I'm like, just give him a ride.
Everyone's like, ah. Why is that shirt floating still? Hey, Neve. Okay. This is a deep one.
Oh no.
What dictates good or evil? Like this. Yeah, I know this is a big one. Like what is good versus evil? Like, I have a thought of what's good and evil, but why is that's not what everyone thinks is good and evil?
No. That is a really deep question.
I know.
And I
That's why I
think
picked it.
it is all about perspective.
Okay.
Perspective and moral compass.
So,
But everybody's moral compass points in a different direction.
so do you think there is like universal good and evil? Like,
I think
laws,
there are.
maybe?
I think there are acts that are universally good and universally evil. Mm-hmm. But can you? Yeah, you can base people off that. You can base people off that. You can categorically say if a person does like a really evil, heinous act, then that person is therefore evil, because it doesn't matter how much good they do, it would not make up for that one fact. And if you have the ability to do that in you, then that makes you an evil person. Is my perspective.
Okay. Cool. I saw a thing on YouTube, and it was one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen. And I saw a whole bunch of people being beheaded in Afghanistan, like when the internet first started. It was brutal. So I've seen some fucked up shit, as we all have. I'm not saying I've seen worse. I'm just saying we all have.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of the like most like anger-filled things I've ever seen on the internet. Was there's this dude, and he was like, picture a guy, I don't know, I'm not saying he was Mexican, but he had like very like tan skin.
Yeah.
And then he had tattoos all over his face. His face was basically like from his jawline down was all black, and then it was flames, and then they went up over his eyes, and then he had a whole bunch of like satanic crosses and shit, and he was all tatted up, and they were taking him in for prison for murder. And he was talking about how he would rather murder than do anything ever. He doesn't get off from sex. He doesn't get off from or like enjoy anything other than murder. He would always do murder. And he said that when he was a kid, his mom would go to work, and while he was home alone with the cat, he'd put it in the oven for 15 minutes and then in the freezer and then back in the oven and just torture the cat. And I genuinely was watching him, and it went on a lot more. That's not even the worst stuff. It was actually like stuff that I wish I didn't hear it, because it's still like sometimes when I walk around, it comes in my head. I'm like, that's fucked. It was the first time when I was like looking at someone and I actually was like, I think demons exist. And like, I feel like a demon, like if you want to go biblical to the Bible, like they talk of demons.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were referring to. Not that I think that like demons exist, but like if they're referring to someone that's like they're possessed by a demon, I'm like,
that would be
that's
the person.
what the person would be. They would be pointing at.
Yeah.
And I personally think there is a universal good and evil. And I think perspective on good and evil, for example, like a crazy one that you could use is Israel-Palestine. Okay. So the Israelis, and I don't want to like get too much involved. Let's just use it. It's more of just to give a idea of like the thought. Okay. The Israelis view the Palestinians as like, they've got to protect themselves from them. So they're like justifying what they do. Yeah. Whereas the Palestinians are like, yo, what the fuck? And so they think what's going on is evil there. Right. But so like, there's just two different perspectives. That's all I'm trying to say is there's like these two completely different perspectives. So I think within that, if you're looking at it that way, then you can say good and evil exists as a perspective. Yeah. But I also, and I think that's true. Yeah. But I also think there is universal good and evil. And I think they're just like deep down things like you shouldn't kill people. And you shouldn't. And I know there's situations where it'd be like, well, you should kill Hitler. Okay, well, Hitler like kind of like propelled himself into a place to be killed. But I don't think you should just outright do murder for the sake of murder. Like you shouldn't, your overall being shouldn't be towards killing. So I do think there's a universal good and evil.
I would disagree with you.
Okay.
I think there are very situational scenarios. For example, like I know that if anybody like hurt our baby, I would kill them. Like kill them dead.
Me too.
So, but does that make me evil?
No, but that's
well,
not.
There you
no,
go.
no,
So
no,
that's
no,
why
no,
it's situational.
No. But that just proves my point. So, if you went and murdered someone, cold-blooded murder, they did nothing. There's no reason outside of you killed them. Yes, that is wrong. That is an absolute truth. Yeah. If you went and killed someone because they killed Juliet, it's not condoning murder, but it's not just there's more to it than.
But that's what I'm saying. That's not universal then, because what I got from you is universal good and bad. You take someone's life bad, and you don't good. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't believe there's a universal thing. I believe there's your moral compass and your perspective thing.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But that's what I'm saying is I disagree. And I think there's an underlying truth to you shouldn't do murder versus the perspective on that may change because of your situation, which it leaves the grounds of sorry, I've just got some hiccups. It leaves the grounds of you shouldn't murder to a situational thing. In which case you still shouldn't murder someone. You will. And you can understand
and you will and you
will
shall.
And you can understand why the person did it. But the underlying truth of it is murder is wrong. And if someone killed your baby, then the underlying of it still is you shouldn't have killed someone. The person that killed the baby. So like again, the root of it is I believe you shouldn't do murder. I don't think you should do harm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of coming to a belief that I think that the universe is based on the idea of entropy. And what is entropy? Is disbursement of energy. And love is energy or disbursement.
Mm-hmm.
And hate and anger is the opposite. And hate and anger, you can feel it. It's like in the air. It's harsh.
Yeah.
It's intense. Whereas love is like chill and nice vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly am starting to believe. I don't want to say I'm 100% believer in this, but I think that the point of the universe is to spread love. To spread entropy is like to chill out the energy of the universe.
And I believe that, and I believe like it's very much like what you put out is what comes back to you. 100%, but at the same time, I just don't think you can. That's your moral value, you know, as an individual. That's your moral value. I don't think you can categorically say this is a good thing and this is an evil thing, because the person that did the evil thing, in their heads, they might not believe it's an evil thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's very down to your moral compass and your view. I don't think you can categorically
Okay, then
say.
do good and evil exist?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
I would argue from what you said
Mm-hmm.
that no, it doesn't exist. Because if there just is like, if it's all based on your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
then there's no such thing as good and evil. There just is. Like,
No.
what's good, what's evil? Well, I feel this way based on who I am, and this is my opinion because of me. And I'm not trying to make it like a me statement.
Yes.
It's just like, if you're basing everything off of your perspective, then there's no such thing as good or evil.
No.
Whereas
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I believe that there are evil people, but I also believe that they might not be aware that they're evil people.
Okay, this leads back to a question I asked.
So okay,
before.
no.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a really good example for this. Do you remember? It was some time ago. It was like a while back.
Little
There
Hitler.
was a doctor, and I don't know where in the world this was, but he became infamous because he had killed a ton of people by lethal injection.
I swear that was England.
I think it might have been
think it was
England. It was
England.
probably
It was
why
all
I'm
old people,
recalling
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were all old people that were on their deathbed, and he went around killing them with lethal injection.
They weren't on their deathbed. They were old and geriatric, and he deemed them dead.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the point I'm making, is that was an evil act. He took people's lives,
Yes.
like hundreds of people's lives,
Right.
without them consenting, without like them even having the ability to know what's going on. That is a really evil act, to think you're entitled enough to take someone's life.
Right.
But in his mind, he was helping these people pass on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
So
okay,
that's
I've
what I'm
asked
saying.
this.
He's an inherently evil person. He might not know he's evil, but he is.
Okay, I've asked you this before, and I'm not saying you answered it. I can't remember what your
Yeah.
answer was, but do you think people? It was kind of a joking question, but it was a serious one. Do you think Hitler woke up saying, "Let's go do evil today"? And I don't actually know. I'm not going to use Hitler. I don't want to use Hitler. No. Do you think that someone that's going to demolish a slum to put up a new luxury apartment for the rich, do you think they wake up going, I want to destroy a slum for the poor and do evil? Or do you think they wake up like for the good? Like, do you think bad things happen because people want to be evil, or they're doing what they just genuinely think is
I
good?
think bad people, evil people, maybe they do what, like, again, I think it's a person to person thing. I don't think everyone evil intends to be evil, but I do think there are a percentage of evil people that know they're doing evil things. It would be my answer to that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, if you look at it like a pie chart and like a quarter of people are evil, I'd say like an eighth of those people know they're doing evil stuff. Whereas the other eighth might think they're doing good stuff, but it's actually not good.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with, I used to be more like, when I was younger, I thought more that everything was ominous and like cabals rule. Well, I do think cabals rule the world, but like it was more like evil deeds done by a whole bunch of people at the top. But I think more it's like people doing what they think is best for them, and therefore bad things happen, because when people do things for themselves, like the outcome, and I'm talking about like in government officials and stuff, the outcome comes out bad. It's not they're like, I want to do evil things because I'm the top. It's 100%. Like they're like doing stuff to benefit them, and then the way it pans out is X or Y. It's not like they're like, I'm gonna control the world and ruin things, right?
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think people that work that hard to get themselves in a position to, air quotes, make a change are doing things out of being evil.
Yeah, like they're not like,
all.
I want to fuck the world up. They think what they're doing is right.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but there's a difference between those people and people that are just like fucking evil.
Well, okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, can we pause a sec?
And we're back.
Back from the pause.
Back from the pause. Hey, everybody.
It's us.
It's us.
Back again.
It's me, Neve.
In case you forgot who we were.
And you.
Neve and me and Derek.
Yeah, it's Neve and Derek.
Oh.
It's Neve here.
Neve here. And also Derek.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Neve. Give me your money.
I'm Derek, eh? Give me some maple syrup.
Oh. Hello, I'm Neve. I make cheese in caves. Wookie ho.
Should we do the whole pod as each other?
No, we should do it. We should do one as each other. Next podcast, we're going to be each other.
That was so funny.
It's either going to build our relationship or destroy it.
It's probably destroy it.
Yeah. By the end, it's like, oh, I'm fucking Neve. Never doing this and this.
Hi, I'm Derek, eh?
Hey.
Eh?
I ride my beaver to work like a motherfucker.
Stupid.
Okay, so it has been established. I am getting a haircut tomorrow, Nuo.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, I heard this is the last thing that I thought this was an interesting thing. It's kind of it's kind of to do with good and evil. A fanatic is someone who won't change their opinion and can't change the subject. And I thought that was just funny, kind of like...
Relevant.
Very relevant. It is. It's just someone that, like, they've locked into what they think. And then you're like, okay, but then they'll just keep talking
I'm
about
going
it.
to give you an example here, okay?
Okay.
You know in Mean Girls?
Yes.
When Lindsay Lohan is like, I can hear people getting bored of me talking about Regina George, but I just keep talking about Regina George.
Yes.
I feel like that's life right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, you must be able to hear that I don't give a fuck about your conversation. Like, I'm making it obvious.
And
but you just keep going.
You just keep going. We should watch Mean Girls on that note.
I love Mean Girls.
Mean Girls was one of my favorite movies growing up, but I was also very into... Well, Lindsay Lohan was hot, but I was into...
I was into guy stuff.
No.
like trucks.
Mean Girls. like trucks. Everyone else is like, you mean girls and drinking and cars? Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
No, I was into Lacey, whatever, the brunette.
Lacey Chabert?
She was the hottest.
Yeah,
she should have been
super hot.
She should have been Lindsay Lohan, but she didn't get a cracked out...
Everyone loves Lacey Chabert. Apart from Family Guy.
Wait, why do they hate her?
Lacey Chabert was the original Meg.
What?
Yeah. How do you not know this? Everyone knows this.
Wait, whoa.
Like, season 1 and 2 of Family Guy is Lacey Chabert, is Meg.
The hot one from Mean Girls.
Is there any other Lacey Chabert?
I don't know. I can't look on my phone. So what does she look like? She's the brunette one that was so hot.
I don't know. It's Family Guy, babe.
Why did
Lacey Chabert.
I'm so angry.
But they replaced... Dude, they replaced her with Mila Kunis, so...
Damn.
Mila Kunis is by far the hottest.
Why were they?
So.
It's
Why
weird
did they
that
waste
they.
their
Why
time
did they
with
have the
Lacey
two
Chabert?
hottest women?
Playing Meg.
And I guess that was part of the gag, hey?
Yeah.
But that's a really deep cut gag. Like, you have to know what the name said. Every time Meg talks, you're like, she's so hot. Everyone's like, what? You're like, deep cut.
Yeah. Mila Kunis was my screensaver on my iPad when I was in high school.
Let's be honest. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Mila Kunis was a baby. It was crazy, her and Ashton Kutcher and, like, that whole scene, hey?
Well, they had a baby.
I know, but she loved Ashton Kutcher from 70s Show, and I think she was 16 and he was, like, 21 or something.
Yeah, there was an age difference.
There was an age difference. Not that it matters now.
No, it wasn't a crazy age difference either.
No, it was.
5 years?
When she's 16 and he's 21?
I dated, yeah. With that, yeah.
That changes nothing for me. That doesn't change at all. It's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy.
Wait, didn't you date like an 18-year-old?
I was 21.
Yeah.
And she was 18 turning 19.
Okay.
She was like turning 19 that year. Yeah. It was like, I'd say 8 or 9 months of her.
Okay.
It was like,
okay.
It was like 24 to 36 to 48 months before she turned of age. One of those ones.
No, but like when you're that age, it's like a pretty normal. And they didn't date till way after that.
I don't know. For me, 21 to 16's a gap.
It's yeah, it is. But in my small town, it was acceptable.
Well, small towns different. One thing I observed in small towns when I lived in Kitimat that was weird was like when you're young, if you're one of the normal people, it's fine because you either date someone your age or a few years younger or older eventually, right?
Yeah.
But if you're the fucking losers, and I'm not talking like glasses nerded losers, I'm talking about like maybe you're just the douchebag.
Yeah.
You're like it doesn't just instantly mean you're a nerdy kid.
Yeah. The girls get younger and younger.
Yeah, they just keep getting younger and younger. And like there's this one guy on my team who's 35 or 36, and to keep in mind I was 25 at the time, so he's super old, or like way older than me, based on my age now. And he was like, the girls out of high school, they'd be like, yo, like, have you seen the graduating class this year? It's like, oh yeah, a few, or not, whatever it was when they could drink at the bar. Like the standard was as soon as they could go to the bar and drink, they were like fair game. And this dude would be like, he drove dump truck, and not dump truck, garbage truck. Like if you work for the city doing garbage, you make decent money and you're fine, right?
You do actually, yeah.
And so like he was so weird because he'd always be around with like 19-year-old girls and talking about all these things, and the whole time I'm sitting there like, you're such a fucking loser.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you're in a small town and all the small towns adjacent to you all think you're a loser, there's no women, so you just literally have to go for whatever will talk to you, and it inevitably becomes like little girls that are trying to get
don't know how much of a shit you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely had that kind of phase in my life. I mean, when you're in a small town as well, it's like people that will give you rides.
Yeah, the standards lower a lot. You're like, yo, do you have a car? And the guy's like, I'm in it. You're like,
dude,
that's
okay,
good.
So I'll tell you a little inside story now. When I started working at McDonald's when I was 16.
Okay.
And there was a guy that came through the drive-through, and he had like a rep, you know, but he was 25, he must have been, and I just thought he was the shit because he had a Land Rover.
Whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
He had a Land Rover?
Yeah, and I was 16, and
Is
this
he single
25-year-old... No, I have no idea.
We should go Nina.
And he had a Land Rover, and I was like, that's the coolest shit. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what my life would look like if I didn't drive a shitty car the entire time.
What are you talking about, babe? Your Ferrari out front?
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. What is nicer than a Ferrari? I guess I'm into Bugattis or something.
But yeah, I think that's a fairly regular thing for...
I just want to point out, as I get really close to the mic here,
Stop doing ASMR.
we've been 5 weeks in a row.
Go us. Stop whispering sweet nothings to the mic. Yeah.
We're halfway to the record. No, actually, we're
Halfway, baby.
We have to get to 11. I think we can
Alright.
do it
Easy.
because we don't have anything. Oh no!
My bachelorette.
Yeah.
Is that what you just to them?
But you know what?
We can record on the Wednesday.
And yes, and also, there's more than 5 weeks till your bachelorette, isn't there? It's the end of March.
No.
Shit. Okay, well, we'll do that. And then that's a nice transition into the next part of the podcast, the person of the week. Mm-hmm. Joach won't listen to our podcast until we bring it back.
Joe.
So, your last person was Neve 2, was your person of the week, and mine was Connor. So, I'm going to revamp my person of the week. So, my person of the week has already been person of the week. And you can do that now.
What?
Yeah.
Fucking okay. If we're gonna just recycle people, I'll recycle the same 5 that it.
Well, no, okay, that's fine. That's fine because, quite frankly, I don't think you can say nice things about 5 people enough times in a row. Like you specifically, it's gonna be hard to do. So fine, I won't recycle always like you, but Joach, it was a pleasure having you on the pod. I look forward to the next time you're on. And here's your person of the week. I do have your pod coming out. It's just unfortunately the editing required from our podcast, which will come out tomorrow, is basically I just compress versus I got to actually edit ours because Tap, our producer's away. And so, yeah, that's why it's not out yet. So my person of the week, Joach. Oh, this I have to give a reason why. Person of the week. Well, it was an enjoyable pod with Joach. I learned a lot about him. It was fun to talk yet again about everything soccer. Joey's a ref, so it was super cool to hear about Joey's perspective via reffing.
Wait, who does he ref for?
What do you mean? He's a ref. He refs soccer.
Yeah, for what league?
Well, now he's gone more into a management role at the Bubble, but it was more his like previous reffing.
I can see Joey as a ref. I think he'd be a good ref.
Yeah, it's more he used to ref a lot more. It was just fun talking to him about everything to do with that.
He has reffed
A lot. So it was cool because he gives a different perspective. And then he also, one interesting thing about Joach that what surprised me. So I obviously always talk all these things about consciousness and good and evil and stuff. And I love talking about it. And I'm not saying this like no one ever talks to me about it, but I always end up asking people about it.
Yeah.
And then I'll kind of like interlude and say what I think. But he was the first person that asked me questions about what I thought of consciousness.
Oh, cool.
Which was super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've actually, because of that, Joach, I'm thinking of doing a pod where I think, and you could
I would love to be on that.
You could be on it. What I think we should do is, have you seen that one? It's called the At Whatever podcast.
No.
Okay, you must have at some point.
Listen to podcasts.
No, you must have at some point because it's on YouTube. It's actually a YouTube thing, and it's like you get a whole bunch of guys and girls, and they're all over the political spectrum, and they sit them in a room.
Oh,
and
in the circle?
Or like
and they're like, talk about this?
yeah, and they'll be like talk about it, and then
yeah,
they'll be like one chick will be like, I think Pornhub's the way to go, and then a guy that's like super conservative will be like, Jesus, and they like just talk back. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would be a fun one to do, but I don't want to do it on like hot topics where people are like gonna fight.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what we just did? Basically, like we just talked about evil and good and
that's
our
what I wanted.
perspectives, and
Yeah,
we don't
that's
necessarily
what I want it to be.
align
But that's what I
100%.
want it to be about,
Yeah.
right? Because they talk about more things like, what do you think about like men and women's gender roles? And like that's a hot topic. I don't want to talk about that.
No. But just in general, just like I think if you don't talk to people with opposing opinions, you never learn new stuff, right? Because you're just focusing so much on what you believe and you research into that. But you can totally have people change your mind on stuff.
For sure.
And I
for
think
sure.
if you go into those conversations really like open-minded, but like knowing your viewpoint, then I think you can have really interesting conversation.
Yeah. But like all I'm saying is I want it to be more things that you're not gonna be like leave there upset about what someone said.
I don't think you should ever leave a debate upset.
But that's not the fact.
I know,
right?
I know.
Like if you let's say you talk about right now, you brought a whole bunch of people here and you're like, let's talk about Donald Trump. People are going to be pissed, right? So I don't want to talk about like stuff like that. I want to talk about, for example, like intuition versus logic or good versus evil, where it's like you leave and you're like, I disagree, but you're not like, fuck them, like that.
I mean, I agree with you. Those would be really fun kind of topics to discuss because there's so much you can talk about. But I'm a true believer that any conversation that you have with someone that is about something outside of like yourself and whatever, there's no reason to be offended. It's just a conversation, and unless you act or say offensive things to the other person like intentionally, then that other person should not take offense at all. Like I say a lot of stuff that people get offended by, but I don't mean it in an offensive way.
I mean, I get what you're saying,
I
just think you just haven't said the things that are hot buttons. Like, for example, I'm just going to use the example of Donald Trump. If you talk about Donald Trump, you are going to upset people. On either way, regardless of what you say about him, you're either going to say
no.
Trump's a wacko or Trump's great, Trumpo. But regardless, I don't think you're going to have a conversation with a group of people. It doesn't have to like ever where you'll come out of it and people won't be offended, even if you're trying to not be harmless.
No, but this is the thing, and this is where I truly stand on this. Is if you get offended by something I say and I wasn't trying to be offensive, that's not on me. Like that's not my problem. You're the person that took what I said in an offensive way. Like there's I think offense is an intentional thing that you cast upon someone. Like you can say some really cruel and hurtful things to someone and intend to hurt them. But if you're just having a conversation and you say something and you don't mean any malice when you say it, then is it really offensive, or is that person just extremely sensitive to that subject?
I disagree. I just disagree because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you're talking about like your intent, and if you interpret my intent, basically it's like if you get offended by my intent, but it's not what my intent is, that's not on you, kind of, right?
Yeah.
How do I'm trying to, there's a ton of examples. I'm just trying to think of a good one. Colonialism in Canada or India or anywhere.
Yeah.
If you have a conversation about that.
Yes.
Wait, that might not be the best example. Let me think. I don't think that's the best example. Like, I just feel like even if your intention is good, there are just certain things that it doesn't matter to the person hearing it.
No, and I understand, because that obviously means a lot of emotion is entailed in that. And no, use the example like colonialism.
No, but I don't think it's a good example, because it's because you can't really spin colonialism as like their intentions were good, because their intentions
No,
weren't.
but I'm not talking about their intentions.
Right.
I'm talking about my intention. Me as
No,
a
I know,
human.
no.
If I were to talk about that, and when I talk, I know I talk very I don't want to say like, no, objectively. I do. I talk very objectively about things, and
Subjectively.
Objectively. I'm very blunt. And like, it's
But
not...
that's like your opinion.
Yeah, and it might...
That's
yeah,
subjective,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Maybe...
Dax
maybe,
said that to me the other day.
all right.
That's why I know. I'm just...
Maybe I do talk subjectively. I will always say my opinion. And if you don't agree with that, then fine. But when I'm saying my opinion, none of my opinions are offensive. I believe in my true core, like, I don't have radical views. I don't think lesser of anyone for any reason. I think we're all just fucking ants on a rock.
But
so for me, I know my intentions. Right. So if my intention isn't to offend you, then you being offended isn't my problem, because I know.
But that doesn't mean they're not offended.
But that's not my problem.
But this is
Why is that
I want to bring back to the main reason how we got into this part of the conversation. Was I was saying I don't want to bring hot topics that could offend people into a discussion where we're just like, it's more like it's philosophical, where you and me can disagree, but I don't leave saying F you like that.
No.
Right? But that's what I'm saying, is like, that's where this started. And what I'm saying to, again, like kind of what you were saying is, you're like, well, my intention wasn't bad. I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. But let's say we start talking about Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
I just guarantee you, if we got 3 people that were pro-Israel and 3 people that are pro-Palestine in here, and we just started talking, who we are, we don't know anything. We're all just idiots that just talk.
Idiots that talk and have
talk
a mic.
about shit, and we have a mic, a mic, and all of us are on our phone and do it in between watching YouTube and videos, right? People are going to get upset and offended because of just like, that's how some things are. Right? So like, if we have a debate about Israel and Palestine, people are just going to get upset. Whereas if we have a debate about, is intuition versus consciousness a thing, or is intuition and science the opposites? Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Whereas Palestine, Israel, it doesn't, like, it matters to a lot of people. You get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is that it shouldn't be like that, and we should be able to talk about everything openly and logically and non-emotionally.
I agree. We should be able to.
Yes, that's the point I was making, is that should be what happens, but it's not what happens.
Right.
In my head.
That should
be what happens.
I don't know. It's what I've realized with more and more with time is, it's really hard because, like, for example, me. I think I'm a person that confuses a lot of people when they meet me, because I joke around all the time, like 99% of the time. Yeah. Right? Like vast majority. So someone like me, sometimes if you hear what I say, you might get really upset. But then anyone that knows me is like, oh, Derek's just joking around, right? So it's always a weird thing of like, some people are like, the words you say, every single syllable matters because they're dissecting it.
So true,
Like, my dad was literally, sometimes I would ask him something. I'd be like, I'm trying to think of an example of what I'd ask him stuff, and he'd be like, I don't get what you're saying. and it was because I like spoke the grammar wrong of it. And it wasn't like him being a dick. It's just like he like when you spoke words to him, they all really meant something. And whereas I'm more someone where like I joke around and goof about.
Yeah.
So it's like if you put those two people in a room and then you have them having a conversation, all of a sudden one person's listening to every single word I say.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, you listen to every word Derek says? You should listen to every like 8th or 9th word he says, dude. And even then it's questionable. So it's like...
Yeah. But also like, I think we need that differentiation of people. Like, I can understand that about your dad, because I'm very not so much with friends, but I'm very methodical in the words that I say. But I love you because you can just talk. And I've told you this before. It's one of my favorite things about you is that you talk. And it sounds so weird to say it, and it sounds so stupid to say it, but I can like put you in any room in any scenario, and I know that you'll be able to like hold that room. And I think that's okay. Lame. I actually think there's something really special about you.
What was that part before? Thank you. That's
sorry.
nice. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna. Thank you. That was very nice of you.
Say really nice things to you a lot, nice of you to but say. It is one of my favorite things about you, and always will be.
Thanks. I have nothing to say.
And I'm getting out of the gay section of our podcast.
Sorry, Lewis, but that last part was
I actually nearly shed a tear when I said that.
Oh.
Almost. If I had a heart, I would cry.
And her heart shriveled up 2 sizes that day.
Love you.
Thanks, babes. That was really nice of you. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really weird, like, I just, this is kind of to deal with the world right now. I'm just going to say it out. I was saying this to Neve earlier. I can't get over how it's impossible to me the way the world is right now. With Donald Trump is the most obvious one, specifically because we're Canada and North America.
Yeah, it's very close to him.
And it's also America, so it like affects a lot of the world. But Donald Trump isn't the only one of these. There's a lot of like right-wing populist people. That's what you really call Donald Trump. And it seems impossible to me that you either think Donald Trump is saving the planet or the planet's doomed. And I want to take Donald Trump out of it because Donald Trump is just like flavor of the month. Yeah. It's like the whole thing. It just seems impossible
There's
to me.
There's a lot of divide right now.
Yeah, and
a ton of divide right now.
But I don't think there actually is. Like there is.
Well, because everyone's living the same life.
Yeah, everyone's like, it seems like when you look around, everyone's just managing fine. But then you go on the news or you go on TV and it's way worse. And I don't want to take away from there is obviously literal things happening. So it doesn't mean it. It just seems to be like people are just fucking so polarized. And I think that's impossible. Like there's something wrong if there's like us versus them. I'm like, well, something's gone wrong in the communication line to make that, because it's impossible that everyone I meet everywhere all the time is so much closer to agreeing on things than there's just like complete opposites. But then you go online.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem is it's not any different to how it was. And that's the funny thing is that times aren't changing. It's our access that's changing. So you think about fucking medieval times, like Battle of Hastings, 1066. Nobody knew that was happening. And then they were calling people to war, being like, okay, we gotta go to war now. Like, they didn't have phones, like mobile phones to like fucking live stream this shit. You know, it was just like, okay, you're getting called up, you go, like, this is what's happening. And you just find out at the time. now you have so much access to everything.
Everything.
That it is.
Okay, this is a cool question.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna do this because I've had this written down for a bit and I couldn't really figure out a way to put it in here, but now I've got it. So
Okay.
the universe is moving towards more complexity. I think, again, just to preface all this, I always think in my head I'm a radical thinker. And what I think by that is if you ask me something 1 hour from now, it could probably change. Maybe not literally, but like within a day or two.
Oh, yeah,
it'll
yeah.
change because I think so much of like what's going on. And the universe is moving towards more complexity. And what I think it is like, okay, for example, the obvious one is just the like technological tree of like, look at, we've just always progressed, right? But I think that's just in like every single facet of life, like just everything you just said there. It also just kind of like screamed to me that like things that we don't believe to be real, I think can be real.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
It's
they're
just
not.
The universe isn't that complex yet.
Yeah.
But at some point it will be. And the example I will use is in the 1930s, 1984, the book you are reading.
Yeah.
And all these like Aldous Huxley's A Brave New World, Animal Farm, they basically predicted the world we're living in now. And that's a more complex world than they were living in. So if you read another book, it's going to seem like this, like, for example, the future.
Star Wars, baby.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Star
and then all of a
Wars,
sudden
baby.
Star Wars will happen, and it's like, what's next from Star Wars?
Yeah.
But it's all
What
based
are
on
people
this
thinking
idea
about?
of,
Yeah.
like, the complexity just
intensifies.
yeah.
100%. And I do fully believe that. But I'm very much of a believer in. I wish you could see Derek right now. He's doing sprinkler motions.
I just want
He's just doing a little dancey dance.
I'm just doing the shoulders. That's it.
But I do believe that, like, we are living in this constantly progressing world, but it is really important to ground yourself and stay present, because if you go too much into what's outside of your immediate life, you're gonna get caught up in an idea of something. And when you're caught up in an idea, you're not focusing in your right now.
Yeah, I think if you, and I've actually experienced this.
I know you have.
Yeah, I think if you get too ethereal with your thoughts and think of like all that stuff, you can lose track of now. But it's weird because you still are literally living in now, so you're still functioning, but you're like you're like in a distance. And I think you really only have like max 100, if you're super lucky, 103 years on the planet. So you just always have to live in the now. Like you just have to, because it's regardless of what.
You're going to miss so much time if you don't.
And regardless of what consciousness is, and if you die, if maybe we die and you zone out and you're like literally snap out and you were in a VR, that's really good. But
you don't know
you don't know, so you just have to live in now, because whatever is going on in the grand scheme of things, we're trapped in the now. Period. Like you 100%. and I think you can leave our bodies now. I haven't got there. I did one meditation. I've told you this before. I've done one meditation where I saw the universe, or like I was out in the stars, and then I went, oh my God, and I snapped back into my bathtub, and I've never, ever since been able to get back there. And then there was one other time when I was in the dentist chair and there was drilling into my head.
Yeah,
I told you about that one. So just, you know what? I'm going to recount that at a different time for a different pod. But like, I do believe that it's possible. And then even with drugs like psychedelics, like mushrooms and stuff, I'm more a believer, and I do think those are different realms, and it's like change our perception of everything. But at the end of it, all of that stuff, 100% of the time, you snap back to right here. Yeah. And that's the reality you're in.
So
period.
true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. I'm a full believer of that, because I know this sounds like, and I'm fully aware of how fucking nuts this sounds every time I say it, but like, when I dream, like, I live lives. Like, I live in my dream, and that's a life that I'm living. And it sounds so fucking crazy. Like, I sound like I like it does, and I know how crazy it sounds, but I swear down that when I dream, I'm not me. I'm somewhere else. I'm like there, and there is a consistent place that I am that isn't here. But here is where I live. Mm-hmm. So that must mean something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I have you read your psychic book that guy gave you?
Like bits of it, but not the whole thing.
I read the first like a little bit, and then some of the star sign stuff.
Yeah.
It sucks because it's so boring. I hate all that stuff. I like the name of it. What is it? It's like psychic.
The science of psychic or something.
Science of psychic. I believe in esoteric stuff now, but I don't. At the same time, like, I think there's some. I feel like, again, going back to this idea of complexity.
It's just deeper than what we can understand.
I feel like what people believed in the past is the exact same as we believe now.
Yeah.
But again, complexity comes into it.
Yes.
So, like, for example, there's a lot of stuff I've been listening to about the indigenous of North America lately and what they believe. And I have this weird feeling of, like, remember what I told you about us being in what are we are a projection.
Oh, projection of a projection of projection. Yeah.
No, we're a projection of a projection. Okay, so just to recount that for everyone. There's a person I was listening to, and there's NYU physicist, I think it was, or scientist of some sort, and they were explaining how, like, we're basically NPCs in a video game. So the video game's a projection. So you have a world like the like, let's say World of Warcraft. Gate. Yeah, Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate. It's same difference. So we're in Baldur's Gate. Okay, so that's a projection.
3.
Baldur's Gate 3. 2 is 15 years ago. So we're in Baldur's Gate 3. That's the world. That's always there. That's a projection. And that projection, okay, no, you were right. So that projection is the main projection. Yeah. And then we're inside that. And so we're a projection. So there's a projection, and we're a projection inside that. That's you're Neve, the NPC. Okay. Yeah. And then Neve now
puts on VR goggles.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. So no, I was right. So yeah, you're inside that projection, and now you're a person. Again. No, I'm not gonna say it again. So you're inside that. So that's where we're at, right? And none of that made sense at all. If you had said that 70 years ago, or 100 years ago, 1920, people would have been like, "What the fuck?" And then you go read 1984, and all that stuff. And it seems like this, like, fantasy world that's so crazy, right?
Yeah.
But now it's a reality. And then you all of a sudden start bringing in the idea that we're talking about, like, we're a projection in a projection.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Because why? Because the
Matrix,
universe keeps getting more complex.
Matrix, baby.
So nothing's changed. Everything's just got more complex, but it's the exact same.
Do you know I've never watched The Matrix?
I know, and that's fucked up.
We should watch it.
We should for sure watch The Matrix. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
It's like
I've never heard you get passionate about it until right now.
Yeah, it's like you know what's crazy is The Matrix for me is why it's so good is there's just a whole bunch of sweet ninja fighting scenes and gun stuff that's so cool.
I don't even need to continue that. You know how I was going. Anyway.
But then as time goes on, the more the deepness of it all.
I can't look at you right now. Sorry, inside joke.
They wouldn't get it. Do you want to explain it?
No.
Should I finish the wine? Is there a lot of wine left?
I think there's quite a bit. I think there's quite a bit of wine
I
left.
won't finish it.
Anyway, that was our person of the week.
No, that was Joach was my person.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get on to mine.
So where's yours?
Because we started talking about crazy shit.
Good. Touche.
Yeah, Joach, would love to have you on a pod and talk about crazy shit. Okay, have I done Jamie before?
Which Jamie?
My Jamie.
Yeah.
Have
for
I?
Sure. Yeah.
Have I though?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're repeating people now, so I don't care. Anyway, I thought of Jamie because Jamie called me up the other day, and I was at work. It was like, I think it was yesterday, actually. She called me up and I was at work, and she was like, dude, like, I totally forgot to message you on your birthday. I didn't even realize. But the funny thing is I hadn't realized that Jamie because everyone here will know I'm the worst communicator. Like,
yeah,
via
even to
text.
me.
Yeah.
Even to me, like, I'll message you like 4 times and then you just say nothing.
Yeah, it's because I'm just not good with texting people back ever. Or talking to people in general over text. I'm good in person. Cool, fine.
Debatable. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Go on.
But over text, I'm just really, really terrible. And that doesn't mean I care any less about anyone. But I hadn't even realized that Jamie didn't message me on my birthday. And she calls me up and she's like, Neve, I feel so bad. And I was like, about what? And she was like, I didn't message you on your birthday. And I was like, oh, didn't you? I don't fucking know. But yeah, Jamie, and she's just that person. She like will think so deep about stuff, but I'm just here for the ride. And Jamie's been one of I've known her for like a fucking gazillion years. I've known her longest out of all of my friends, and since we were like 13 or something, which is crazy because I don't talk to anyone from my high school. But she is just one of the most loving, caring people that I know, and that's why I chose her as godmother for Juliet. Like, I just know that she would do anything for that baby and for me. And yeah. I trust her with a fucking gun to my head. Please don't put a gun to my head.
But I feel like you don't have to like give her that power. Sure.
No, she's a real bitch.
Yeah. I was gonna say real one, but yeah, she's a real bitch.
In the best way possible.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, out of your friends, I know Jamie, Lewis, and
Neve are like my,
and then I guess Kieran now via Neve, but
yes,
like, your true friends, like those 3. And
I think it's
cool.
3.
I think it's cool because I actually like have relationships with all of them. It's not like they're just like your friends. I'm like, oh, like me and Jamie did this, me and Luce did this, me and Neve did this. So
yeah, like
cool.
that. But that's I think that's what's also really nice about our relationship is like we are just friends with each other's friends. Like, they don't like us because we're the partner. You know what I mean? Like, we just all get along.
Yeah. I always think that's a interesting thing is like, it's really just down to how some people like hold their partners. Like,
yeah, that's
some
so
people,
true.
like, I've always been a person of, some of my friends will like, their like girlfriend isn't part of our friend group. And that's fine. I don't judge them for that. And just for the record, it's none of the people who are listening to this.
Yes.
I can guarantee you the people that I'm saying this aren't listening. And like, that's fine. Like, if your relationship is you and your girl do different things and then you go home and are together and it works, that's cool. But I just think that's so crazy to me. Like, the idea of like, oh yeah, Neve, like, I went and played soccer and you just stayed home and didn't come and didn't know anyone or cared. And then oh, I'm gonna go do this tonight, and you do this, and you never come with my friends, and I never go with your friends. It just seems so wild to me.
I don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
I just like, I believe your partner, the person that you're with, should be your bestie.
Yeah.
Like, you're my bestie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I struggle to be around your friends, that would be so uncomfortable for me.
Yeah,
And
100%.
And vice versa. If I like didn't want you to like hang out with my friends,
That's a huge red
that's
flag.
a big,
Yeah.
big
Yeah,
red
no,
flag for me.
I always think that's like my friends sometimes will be like, are the ladies allowed to come? And in my personal opinion, and most of
when are they
them,
not?
it's not all of them. It's
Yeah.
just there's a few of them. The only time that girls, like the ladies, aren't invited are partners. I shouldn't say the ladies. It makes it
They're
seem
bachelors.
like ladies.
The ladies.
The only time that they're not invited is if it's specifically a guy's trip.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't think I can remember the last time that I've done anything where everyone's been like, yo, it's a boys trip. Like, most of the time you guys just don't want to come.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's... No, but to be fair, like, it's just like, as you get older, that's life, right? Like, you're living life with your partner. So, like, why wouldn't you want to, like, hang out together?
And yeah, and like, don't get me wrong. If we had a boys trip and you're like, yo, all the boys are going away for a weekend, it would be fun. It'd be different because it's just all dudes.
Yeah.
But it's not like a thing of like, we're like, finally we can go do a whole bunch of drugs and get strippers.
Get me off these chains.
These chicks. It's like, it's different, but it's different because like women and men together have a different dynamic than men to men.
100%.
But it's like, the old ball and chain's gone. Let's get the hookers and blow finally.
Dude, but that's the same thing. Like, I go out on my girls' nights, and it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go on my girls' night and flirt with all them. It's
Bang
like
all the boys.
it's not like that anymore. Like, we're older. We're just people that are living our lives and having fun.
Yeah.
But I would rather have fun with you than with anyone else. I guess that's a nice thing.
Whoa. What about Judge and Jamie? Are people
That'll be in my vows. Yeah, I guess I'd rather hang out with you than anyone else.
Okay.
You heard it here first, guys.
Okay, I got buy and sells. Let's wrap this.
Okay, give me some buy and sells. We've been going for a minute
This is
here.
almost an hour and a half of just shenanigans.
Of just us a shenanigan.
Okay. So my buy of the week was singing karaoke, and yours was birthday celebration.
Basically the same thing. You kind of stole mine, but whatever.
I'm not gonna deny that one. So let's just do that first. What's your buy of the week?
Buy of the week. I don't know if it's technically this week, but my parents landed tonight.
That's this week. We'll give you
Yeah.
that.
My parents landed tonight.
They should have been here prior to
They
the
should
pod.
have been here pre-pod. And I wish they were, but unfortunately flights got delayed, blah, blah, blah. They were
Wait.
at LAX as well, which is just a clusterfuck.
Wait. Are they landed now? Do we know that?
I think they're at their Airbnb right now.
Oh, okay, good.
They said it's really nice. And it's not far from me. It's like the other side of Mosquito Creek.
Oh, they just have
Super
to cross.
close. It's
Cool,
super close.
that's a nice little walk, but it's super icy. Tell them that.
Yeah, I know. I did. I told them
Mega
that.
icy.
Yeah.
They should get crampons. It actually might be worth them their time to buy crampons while they're here.
What the fuck is grandma?
Crampons?
I don't know what you're talking
They're
about right
little
now.
they're little like spikes, but picture their little tiny spikes. Like, it looks like a shoe, and it like wraps like a web around the bottom. It's all elasticy, so it's like super like bendy.
Crampons. Like tampons, but for your feet.
Okay, maybe not. I think they're called shoe spikes, but they're like crampons. But basically, it's like walking around here. You know how right now everything's icy.
Yeah, they didn't clear the snow on the paths for like 3 days.
Yeah, you like don't go down that
Yeah,
steep
no.
path. So all that ice, basically, if you have crampons in your shoes, they just attach to the bottom and you can walk on that stuff. Anyhow,
Anyhow, my parents are here, and that's my buy of the week.
my buy of the week is snow. I'm so happy
Oh,
it's
the
winter.
snow is
Like, it's been
so
so
dope,
fun.
yeah.
I have a feeling it's gonna snow. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. This winter is really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have noticed.
It's not any different than it has been for the past 3 years.
Absolutely not at
No,
all. No,
100%.
100% wrong.
No.
You don't know. I've lived here my whole life.
But for the past
Neve,
3 years, it snowed in Feb.
No.
Yes.
Yes, okay, for sure. There's been snow. But all of January, it didn't rain at all. Literally, it was just sunny. And then it's been snowing. And I don't know if you've noticed the snow's really wispy and light. Mm-hmm. That's not normal.
That's happened for the last 3 years.
No.
No.
No. Look at the temperature right now.
No.
The temperature right now, it's like -7 with wind chill 10. It's because no. Juliet, do you want to go to bed?
No.
Do you want your bottle? No. Give me a bottle. Okay. No, like this. No.
Our toddler's in a no phase.
No.
In case you didn't get that.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about this yet. Juliet got assaulted at daycare. Like,
this can be your sell of the week.
Okay. I'm gonna move on. The snow's been nice.
The snow's been nice.
Okay,
anyway.
my sell of the week is my soccer cleats still aren't here, and they're still not here. And yours was the last day of not being full time, or the last day of not.
Yes.
Full-time.
Okay.
Okay, so my sell of the week, Juliet was assaulted. Assaulted. Yeah, you didn't hear that wrong. Shh. You didn't hear that wrong. Physically assaulted by. Here's the crazy thing for me. Here, this is whack. They won't release the gender of the child, and I have a feeling because it's a male on female thing, so they're protecting the boys.
Dude, I know it was a boy. I know. No. Like, I don't actually know, but I know in my core it was.
Oh yeah, no, I
because Juliet, I said to her, and I know she's a baby and she doesn't understand, but I showed her a picture and I was like, who was the one that scratched your face? And she pointed out a boy, and I was
That's
like...
That's facts right away, too. It wasn't
it wasn't no hesitation.
There's no hesitation. And she knows what pictures look like. She's very aware. Very aware.
But wait, can you tell the story of how she got assaulted?
This is fucked. So in our house, there's no love. It's all just hard. It's hard. Like, Juliet wakes up in the morning... chain gang style, we start making her do push-ups.
Like, go cook us breakfast,
right away,
baby.
she's hitting the heavy bag with some kicks and stuff, like, right? Cut all that. Boom. So Juliet shows up at daycare, and the teacher's like, "Oh, Juliet loves to hug all of her." Just like we taught her, she loves to. It's funny. So cute. It's so cute. So Juliet loves to. I guess she goes around and hugs.
She says.
You tell it, because I don't know the story.
Okay. I was the one that heard this firsthand from the daycare teacher. So, Juliet, she gets a lot of loving at home. She gets a lot of cuddles, and I'll be like, "Mama wants cuddle," and she'll go cuddle, and then she'll hug you, and it's super cute. It's awesome. But she has now taken that into daycare, and she just hugs everyone. And they've mentioned this to me a couple of times. They're just like, she just wants to hug everyone, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, checks out. So the thing was, I went in to pick her up from daycare yesterday, and they were like, yeah, so Juliet really loves to hug everyone. I was like, oh, I know, she's just full of love. And they're like, yeah, she tried to hug this kid, and this kid did not want to be hugged. And this kid, like, grabbed her face and scratched up her face when she tried to hug him. Or her. We don't know the gender.
Grabbed her face?
Don't know the gender. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, Juliet's a tough kid. Like, she get a little scrape. It's how she learns, right? She learns that not everyone wants to be hugged by these interactions. So I knew that, but I also knew that Derek was at home waiting for us. And Juliet is such a daddy's girl. And I was like, I gotta go and tell Derek that she got scratched up. Gotta go and tell her.
At what age are you allowed to assault someone?
You'd fucking, like, kick that kid into...
I guarantee you I could win that fight. Do you want submission? TKO? Straight knockout? I'm not threatening this little boy
or girl Whoever it may be. I'm pretty sure it was a boy.
Or girl.
She pointed out a boy in the picture, so.
All I'm saying is this.
Watch your back.
Come at me. Boy.
So that's Derek's sell of the week.
I'm just going to say this. One strike. You're out.
Okay. Wait. I got to do my sell of the week.
What's yours?
My sell of the week was... I was meant to have my first week of full-time this week. And I was actually looking forward to it. And then, because of the fucking snow, the school's closed. And Juliet's daycare follows what the school does. So Juliet had to be out of daycare. And I had to come home and look after her, even though it was meant to be my first full week back at work.
Yeah, I felt like the harshest...
That really sucked.
Yeah, I felt like the harshest part of it was like...
It shouldn't have been a snow day.
First off, they just basically took like $200 from us. Or whatever it is. I don't even know. It's not $200. It's what is this? $1,200 for a month. So whatever that is.
I don't know how it breaks out.
It's 5 days a week for $1,200. But all I'm saying is sorry. That was a bit dramatic. No, that was a bit dramatic. I got a little off track. Is the irony of that whole thing was so. Neve goes to work all day Monday, right? You do your normal Mondays.
Yes.
She'd be in daycare. Tuesday, I'd stay at home with the baby. And Neve would go for the morning. And then she'd come home. Wednesday, we're both at work all day. Thursday, Neve stays off. And then Friday, she'd work.
Yes.
Okay? So and then baby be at the thing for that. I just think it's ironic that the day that you have to miss... is it basically just continues the process of like you go to work in the morning, you have to come home.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It was like this was my first like week of being full-time work, and then I had to come home.
Like
for
even
Juliet.
if it, exactly, of course. And even if it was the Monday, it would have been different.
Yeah,
but it was like the Tuesday literally just made it another.
Oh my god!
Week.
It like, and that's what it didn't upset me because like. Obviously, my child always comes first, and if I have to be home, I have to be home. Like, that's not an issue.
It is what it is, yeah.
But it's just that, like, I'd said, like, yo, this is my first week back full-time, 40 hours, let's go. And I was, like, so mentally prepared for that. And then it was like, oh, no, you have to go home at, like, fucking midday. And I'm like, I was in my jive. And you ruined it. Snow day.
Goddamn snow.
Anyway, yeah. That's my sell.
Okay, that's a good sell. I actually think that's actually more legitimate than most of your sells.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna end with 3.5 hours of ASMR. Take a guess at what organ this is.
Not an organ. It's just you rubbing your beard on the mic.
Neve, do you have any final words?
Love you, David B.
Who's David B?
Derek's got a headband on right now and it looks like David Beckham.
Oh yeah, okay, respect. Yeah,
respect. David Beckham. Yeah.
Damn straight. I just want to say to anyone shorter than me, I'm coming for you.
Okay, bye.